All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Word with Ty Brownlow. I am your host, Ty Brownlow. Remember, no one is worthless, no story is worthless. Today, ladies and gentlemen, man, as you can see, I have a lovely panel here, and we are talking about breaking the glass ceiling. What? What do you mean, Ty? What do you mean breaking the glass ceiling? Well, today, we're going to focus on social work. And, joining me today, let me introduce my guests. First and foremost, the lady in the lovely pink hat over here, as you can see, this Miss Chaundra Scott, MSSW from Maryland. How are you today?
Great. How are you?
All right. I'm great.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Moving it right along here, with our lovely earrings and representing, Serretta Brooke Gordon, MSSW of Indiana. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
All right. Welcome. And to the bottom here, we have Miss Dion Harris of Chicago. How are you?
I'm feeling pretty grateful. Thank you for asking.
All right. No problem. All right. She's coming through with her 6 years in social work working. And also we have Miss Sarita Ford. She's a LCSW clinician, of course, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Come on now. Of Maryland. All right. Okay. Come on. All right. But just to be serious here, like today we are talking about representation, breaking like glass ceilings, and you all have like come together and written a book with other authors as well. I believe there's 7 of you all total, and correct me together for this. Okay. And the name of the book is called, ladies and gentlemen, It Takes a Village. Okay. So what are we really talking about? Let's break down this stat here. When it comes to the makeup of social work, basically white women make up 67%. Okay. 15% are African American or Black women, 12% Latino, Hispanic, 2% unknown. Okay.
Yeah.
When we're talking about representation and how representation matters, especially in these cities and sometimes out in the country as well, man, we have folks who pretty much grow up in these rural areas, and they need representation as well. People who look like them, that understand their troubles and the trials that they're going through. But sometimes they may not get the services that they need. So first and foremost, we're just going to talk about this book, how it came together, and what's it all about. So first and foremost, Ms. Chaundra Scott, can you lead us off? Can you tell us about this book and your contribution to it?
Yes, definitely. So It Takes a Village is a book anthology with myself and 6 other social workers from all backgrounds. And we are all from different social work settings. We all have different years of experience and different licensure and different expertise. And we are all sharing our stories of inspiration throughout our professional career. So for me, I had a lot of challenges when I first got into social work and even recently in my career field. So I was like, well, I know I'm not the only one, and I'm seeing a lot of trends and disparities. So I'm like, we got to talk about this. Most recently, there's even been issues where NASW, they highlighted different statistics where a lot of BIPOC social workers are not passing the licensure exams at the rate that our counterparts are. And it's like, well, we know this information, but what are we doing about it? It's like, we are the advocates, but we still need to advocate for ourselves. So I was like, well, let's, I love writing. Let's put it in book format. So I put it out there to see who's interested. And we have 6 lovely ladies who are sharing their stories. And we really have something powerful, and I'm hoping that we can change the atmosphere within social work and just the health and professional in general.
Okay, all right. Well, first of all, applaud that, hey, just getting together to do something. I mean, just to talk about it, just to like address it, because as we sit here and speak, we know people who are currently coming into the profession every single day, whether they're in school, whether they're working for agency form, or whether they're like even out here starting their own, firm or what have you, or private practice. But sometimes, you know, we have the idea of, hey, you know what, I want to change the world, I want to change my community, I want to change things around me, and which is very noble. But when you know, start to go through the motions, you start to see that, okay, it ain't gonna be that easy, you know, and I have people pulling me, you know, from each side, but you know, there's help, you know, I mean, man, everyone needs help. So as far as the concept of the book, I want to talk to you, Ms. Serretta, Brooke. What was your contribution to the book as well?
Basically it was like, after I saw the posting for social workers, I actually was like, I can't do this alone. I started wanting other social workers that I knew to jump in. So I sent text messages out to like 7 or 8 of my friends who are like, you know, across the nation, because I never do anything alone. I always got a crew with me. And so I said, we gonna climb and we gonna go together. But nonetheless, once I did join and got to know Chaundra and the ladies, it was good for me because I have worked in social services for a long time, and now I actually teach at a university. And it's a little bit different because we are training students to become social workers. And so it's an obligation and a responsibility that comes with a lot of weight. And as a person of color and a woman of color, it becomes a huge responsibility to be able to train not just our students of color, but all our students to understand that they need to be woke. They need to understand how to work with families and how to be able to identify and build bridges. And so I thought this was an excellent way to solidify that in the book. We all have different experiences as well, and we all have a purpose in why we came into social work. And I think that's one of the biggest things that makes this so, I call it gems. When I learn something from someone, you know, my elders or someone in my community, I always say they're giving me gems to put in my bag. And so I see this as a way for us to give out gems to share with others about our experiences. So
I like that. I like that. Okay. Hey, look, yes, drop them gems, put them in that bag, keep it moving, you know. And you know, I think it's wonderful also that you talk about, well, I used to be on this side, now I'm on this side, you know, now I have to train or like teach those who want to get into the profession. Like I used to start off in this profession, now I'm here. So having that perspective, we're going to talk about personal identity in a second, but I'm going to move it down the line because I have Miss Sarita Ford. Basically, you have 7 years of social work experience. Can you just, you know, talk about your contribution to the book?
Yeah, so I have experience working in Baltimore County Public Schools. And that has been the majority of my profession, is working with students, families, as well as staff, doing consultations and addressing social emotional needs. So my contribution to the book is being able to give insight on how does a school social worker operate? And it's something that I want to say the profession has been around, not as long as other professions, as hospitals, social workers, and social workers that work in other settings. Mm-hmm. So I've been able to talk about that in the book. How do you navigate the pandemic and coming back from that and being able to address the behavioral needs of students, and not even just students, but the deficits that's in the community? How has COVID really affected our students? And then what are the trends going to look like the next couple of years when it comes to education? I think sometimes people overlook the importance of having that therapeutic approach and how it's tied to education and representation in our schools. That even matters, to being able to have a mental health provider of color that assists the students that also look like myself. And then I also have several years of experience in private practice. And I'll say it's something that grad school didn't necessarily prepare me for, that business side of social work. I feel like we learned so much about the clinical side, but the administration and the business side is something that's not taught. So even figuring out what that looks like as a woman of color and going into an industry where I had zero knowledge of it, and, you know, having to learn as I go, and also research too.
Okay. Well, hey, and look, you brought up some key points, especially with that business side, because as you said, we spend all day learning, like, you know, theories and, okay, all right, write this thesis statement, or, you know, okay, look here, we're going to have this discussion. But when it comes to, all right, now I'm actually out here and I have to like build this thing myself, what's the business side of it? And, you know, you can get discouraged, you know, and that dream you had of helping, now it's like, okay, now I lack self-confidence, and now I have to, now you're sitting up here wondering like, okay, do I go here, do I go there? But moving it right along, keeping it here in the hometown. All right, come on, Miss Dion Harris. Like, let's talk about your contribution to the book. Because you have 6 years in social work. So let's hear, your contribution to the book.
Alrighty, thank you for asking. So you're absolutely correct. I do have 6 years in actual social work direct practice and 10 years in mental health. I'm also a Navy veteran, so I've had a lot of experience. I've worked for the state, I've worked for the federal government. So I'm bringing a lot of experience to this book. Individuals often talk about challenges that exist when it comes to, being a person of color. But one of the things that I really, really harp on in the book is how do we navigate those challenges? How do we overcome those obstacles? What things do we need to put in place to make very uncomfortable situations more comfortable for us? And how do we be successful at that? How do we gather our own village? So those are some things that I definitely add to the book. Lots of personal and professional experience being poured into it. So I'm really hopeful that it will impact a lot of others.
All right. So, Chaundra, I'm gonna bring it back to you, and I'm gonna wrap it up with you. As far as this book, we're gonna talk about the launch and stuff later, but in hopes of like helping and getting people to understand, like, what reach do you want to like have with this book? Like, who, like, are you trying to like grab like students coming into the field directly, or those who are already in the field, or just a combination of the two? But let's just talk about the reach. Like, what do you want the reach of the book to be, or in your own words, like the range of the book?
Okay, great. I would love for us to have a global reach. And I feel like we should not only touch on the high school students who are forming their interests and what they are excited to attend college for, but also the college graduates and even those seasoned in the profession. I feel that historically, a lot of people think of social work as just CPS. Oh, we just take kids away. But it's so much more than the child welfare system. And even within the child welfare system, there are so many aspects that you can work on within social work. It doesn't have to be as a case manager. You could be on the macro side in child welfare. You could be the administrator or program manager. So there's different aspects within social work. And I feel like a lot of people aren't aware of that. And that's the beauty in the field. And that's why I chose it, because there's so many things you can do. You don't have to have the traditional case manager position. You could work in the government. You could work in the community center. You could work at a hospital. So I really want people to really have more awareness about the great profession and different challenges that you may experience, but how you can also overcome that and still be successful.
Excuse me, Ms. Brooke Gordon, I believe you had referred to dropping gems earlier, and so yes. Okay, so look here, I hope y'all picking up. Look, people, I didn't say it, y'all just heard the words coming out the mouth. Hey, look, I'm just here to host. There it is. Okay, all right. But moving on. So I want to talk about personal identity, and when we talk about personal identity, I'm talking about your personal identity within the profession. Okay, who you are now versus who you were when you first came in. Look, Chaundra, as you just gave that, wonderful explanation, talking about, hey, like global reach, you have people all over the world, doing some type of social work service. And as you said, it's much more than CPS, it's much more than this, that, and the other, like it's many different forms. So, but personal identity, everyone has a personal identity. It doesn't matter what it is that you do. So I want to talk about how everyone's personal identity has evolved from the time that you first entered into, who you are now. And I want to start with you, Miss Serretta Brooke Gordon, because you have the most experience, and you're like, I find your side very fascinating because you started out one way and now you're on the other side. So let's just talk about how your personal identity has evolved since you got into social work.
Sure. So although I have a lot of years in social work, I didn't get my degree until 2009, but I started working in social work, high school, pre-college, college. I was always helping folks, you know, and that's probably many of our stories. We all have that gift. We don't just sign up for social work, it chooses us. So, you know, I do think that at the beginning, and I was an older student, I went to college, but then I took some time off and then I went back. And I tell that story in the book, but I think that I really was more just trying to sponge and learn early on. I didn't really want to come in, even though I have a loud presence. I can be very assertive, a little aggressive. But at the beginning, I was like, I just want to play it cool and sit back and watch. And over the years, it took me a while, but a lot of life experiences, and we all have had them, especially in social work, where we can talk about different things that we've gone through. I think it's made me tougher, it's made me stronger, but it's also made me allow myself to use my voice in the correct way. Because, you know, we got voices, but we got to be able to use them right. And so working for the university, I've been here for 7 years. And the first couple of years I was teaching, I was like, oh, I don't want to say anything. You got this imposter syndrome going on and all these different things, all these smart folks. And I'm like, I don't fit in. And at some point I was like, wait a minute. Yes, I do. I know what I signed up for. I know this door was for me. So it took me a while to find my true voice. But when I did, like, my whole identity changed and a lot of opportunities and doors started opening, but I had to be willing to walk and run through some of them, and say, this is for me. You know, I like the statement that we don't need to be invited to the table, we make our own. And I think that's real. And so, you know, so it's taken me a while, but I do feel like now I have truly gotten to that place. But I had to have, like Dion said, you know, you got to have a village, you got to have mentors, you got to have people that push you, and you got to trust them, because sometimes mentors will push you to places that you don't feel comfortable, but that's where you're probably going to end up breaking that chain of fear, you know. But I had to be willing to trust them to say, I can do this. And so, yeah, it changed me a lot.
Look, I'm just going to say this right now. She didn't drop some gems, some change. She didn't pass collection plate around. She just gave y'all a whole sermon right there. And y'all, I mean, look, I'm just letting you know, because I'm going to break it down for you. You said something very interesting. And the perspective that you gave was that from an older student, because in a lot of like traditional concepts, we're just trying, hey, you know what? Getting out of high school, hey, you know what? I know what it is. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to get, you know, this degree, and I'm just going to work in this field, and that's just what it's going to be. But no, that's not how life works. You know, as you evolve, as you go through change, as you said, you've been doing social work your whole life, you know, but I don't really know if this is my calling, you know. I want to go out here and do all these other things. But when you recognize what it is, oh, okay, hey, you know what? I'm really good at this. Let me go back to school. Let me get this knowledge. Let me get this training. And, you know, you gave that perspective, because we have people out here sometimes who want to switch careers, but comfort is a cage to a lot of people. And yeah, folks, y'all heard, comfort is a cage to a lot of people. And to get out of that cage, you know, the door can be open, but a person has to be willing to go through. So, love that perspective. But we're gonna keep it moving now, okay, ladies and gentlemen. We gotta keep this train moving. So I'm gonna pass it right over here to Miss Dion. Okay, let's talk about your personal identity. How has it evolved from the time you started to who you are now?
I'll share with you, Ty. It didn't change my identity. My life has evolved, like my life in every way. Becoming a social worker has made me rich. And I don't mean financially rich. Well, that's nice too. I mean spiritually rich, emotionally rich, socially rich. I've become so enriched, and it's insane because when I entered, well, not insane, but just so unexpected, because when I entered this field, I thought I was going to be the teacher. And more often than not, I've become the student. And what I mean by that is, currently I work with couples and families. So I've learned how to become a better mother, a better friend, a better employee, just better in every single way. Like, I thought I was going to be the one making everybody else's lives better and enhancing the spirits of other people and teaching other families how to connect. And the whole time it was me. Like, it was me. So becoming a social worker in the ways that I have, I've learned so much about life. I've learned so much about humans, connection, the importance of having a village, Again, I thought I came in this field and I was going to be dishing out answers. And as Serretta expressed, I became more like a sponge, and I started absorbing things that I couldn't have even imagined. And when I share with you that my life has leveled up by like 50, I'm not over exaggerating. Like, I've become so spiritually rich, so emotionally rich. Again, better friend, better daughter, better mother, better sibling, better neighbor, better in every single way that you could possibly think of. It's like I've been given a gift that I wasn't even expecting. Like, oh wow, it's my birthday. You know, it's just, I can't even explain it. So it has not only changed my identity, it's changed my life in the most beautiful ways, and I'm so very grateful. So,
ladies and gentlemen, she is describing what we call the qualm. Okay, all right. You come to that place of peace, and look, man. Yeah, I know. There's, yeah, yes, I know. But we got, yes, peace. Yes, when you into this realm, you're in the qualm. It's all about that. Okay, there it is. Namaste. I'm gonna keep it moving. All right. Okay. All right. Boom. See, y'all didn't know where we're talking. We all about that diversity around here. Come on, buddy.
Multifaceted, yes.
I'm just saying. All right, but I'm gonna keep it moving. Miss Chaundra Scott, come on now, talk to me. Now, I know you got some stories, you know, you and I, you know, chat, you know, a little bit social media here now, you know, I know what be going on a little bit, but just talk to me about your personal identity, how it has evolved, man. Who you are now, because you're taking things in a totally different direction now, but I won't get it.
Yeah. So I have over 15 years of experience in social work in different settings. And when I first came into the career field, I really was like Janine of Abbott Elementary. I was like so eager, so happy. I'm like, oh, we need to do this. Like, our clients need this and blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to start new programs and all types of stuff. And then as I saw more, I grew, I matured personally and professionally. And now I'm more like more militant. I'm more by any means necessary. I'm like, I'm tired of waiting for the opportunities. I'm going to create it. I'm tired of applying for jobs to have employers see my worth and to see how we can really make change and impact the community. I want to do things on my own. And now I love to consider myself as a social work entrepreneur. Like, yeah, I may have a day job, but that's not all that I do. So, and I'm looking to, you know, fully be on my own 100% as a solo entrepreneur. So, yeah, definitely evolved personally. So, and I love it.
Hey, come on now. Look, and you know, I love that story because, as you said, you went through the change. As you said, when you first came in, oh, I'm Janine. Oh, you know what? Every day is lovely. Hello, little one. How's your life? You know what? I'm going to change your life for the better. I'm going to change everyone's life. I am Oprah. I'm giving you love. You get love. Everybody gets love today, you know? And that's wonderful. It is a wonderful attribute to have, and it's a quality that you need to keep. But as you go through the day to day, as you learn, like, hey, you know what? It's a little rough out here. You know, man, these waters are very choppy. I didn't think these waters would be as choppy as they are today. You know, and that takes a toll on you, and it takes a toll on your mental health, and you start to see things overall. You know, not just like one way, oh, well, you know, they're this because of this and this and the other. Once you start to see the system, you know, man, things change, you know, that Janine becomes Malcolm, you know, or hey, you know, some other type of character, but we're going to keep it moving on. Miss Sarita Ford, take us on out of here. Let's talk about your personal, you know, identity and how it has changed from the time you started to who you are now.
Yeah, so I am still evolving and figuring out my place in this field. I look at myself, as some of the ladies have said, that as a student of it, of my clients, the people that I serve, the communities that I'm able to reach. But I talk about this in the book. When I came into the field, I kind of felt like experiencing that imposter syndrome. And I think Serretta talked about that. They're going to find out I really don't know certain things. Oh my goodness, somebody have given me my degree and now I'm here to fix and save people and all these other things. So I kind of was experiencing that in the beginning and doubting myself, doubting my skills and my practice. But over time, I started to realize that I have the knowledge, I have the trainings, and as the experience came over the years, I became more confident. And then that also had me look at, what do I want to get out of this? What is my purpose? I think when you're working for an agency, you try to focus on their mission and their vision, and sometimes it can derail you from your own personal purpose that you may have for yourself or that has been assigned to you. So I think as I evolve over the years, I'm learning to take up space. I'm learning to have moments of stillness where I can kind of listen to, okay, what do I want to do next? What are my values? What are the things that I want to be able to accomplish as I navigate the different systems that I work for? And similar to Chaundra, I want to be able to put myself in a position where my business is flourishing and I'm able to employ other social workers or even other clinicians and teach them certain skills and not feel like that they have to compromise their personal beliefs or values to fit into something. So I'm still evolving, but I'm figuring it out and learning, like I said, to take up space while I'm doing that.
Now, you know what? You bring up something very, very, very interesting, and I think going forward in the future, this may be like a new trend, but I think in some shape, form, or fashion, I think all therapists, counselors, wellness, what have you, all have to come together under like one form. Because yes, even though it is all health and wellness, everyone has their own division. And within those own divisions, you have even those divisions or what have you, me personally, I like play therapy. I like existential therapy. I like person-centered therapy. That's just me. That's just who I am. But even within that, I know that there are certain, things that I can't do because, all right, this person wants this and this person wants that. Why can't we all work together and just, mind, body, spirit, soul, everything, come together. So hopefully in the future we get that and, pretty much as you said, have it where not only are you having your own business, but you're employing, others and you're bringing them in and showing them the ropes as well. So keeping in the concept of breaking, the glass, window or what have you, the glass doors, or bursting through to the next level. When we talk about the diversity, there's been a lot of talk about diversity, equity, change, DEI. You hear DEI all over the place. Everywhere you go, turn on LinkedIn, DEI, TV, DEI, whatever, DEI. So let's talk about DEI when it really comes to social work. Because as I just said, the stats don't lie. This is like from a September 9th, 2022 stat. 15% of Black women make up social workers in the social work field. So how can Black women help level the playing field in social work to have more representation? I'm gonna start with Sarita.
I'm sorry, did you say my name? I didn't hear.
Yes.
Okay. So when I think about my own personal private practice, that's a part of what made me start, is that, and I'm gonna be transparent, as a therapist, I also have a therapist, and I am pretty much big on clinicians getting mental health services as well. But it was hard for me to find a woman of color, Christian based, and some of the other things that I wanted. So I realized there's definitely a need for us. So that's one of the reasons that kind of pushed me. And even with that imposter phenomenon, I was kind of battling it, but I heard my calling is that I am supposed to be in this field providing those type of services. So it's definitely something that's needed, that women of color, men of color in this field. And I think in the book, we talk about how there are boundaries and there are things that have to take place for us to maintain and consistently be in this field. And I think Chaundra also touched on it, of that representation in this field sometimes is tough, because if you're not smiling, if you're not bubbly, if you have a certain type of demeanor, you're looked at as that angry Black female. And that's hard of a title to break. But in this field, I look at it as, if I'm able to be present and provide services, that's kind of me, leveling out some things, and even encouraging other Black clinicians to start somewhere with private practice, or even, doing direct service. But the numbers is a little discouraging to hear that we make up 15%, but it shows. It shows, because I know me personally, I have a waiting list, and I know there are other clinicians that have a waiting list, and you want to be able to provide the services to our community, but it's not enough of us.
All right. Well, Serretta, same question. How can Black women help level the playing field, in social work, to have more representation?
I think it's twofold. My sister Sarita just eloquently described that mental health is wealth. We have to be able to know ourselves and get the support that we need. I've had 3 amazing Black social work therapists since I was 24 years old, and those women have helped shape me in so many ways. So I think that's one fold. The other piece of it, which is really difficult right now, if the pandemic has taught us enough about health and about care and about all these different things, a lot of us have watched so much happen in our community when it comes to law enforcement, treatment of people of color, and the issues that we're seeing. And I don't know about others, but I know that I have had a lot of disgruntled family members. Why are you a social worker? Why do you know the history of social workers and what you all stood for? And at the end of the day, I finally had to come to a place where I said, you know what, I got to own my history. If I signed up for this profession, I got to know exactly what that's about. And so being able to dismantle the things that our ancestors of social work may have brought to the table, maybe the intentions were not good. We need to be able to say we weren't there, but we know it happened. But teaching these new social workers, men and women, and I teach, we don't get a lot of Black males in the social work program. I've had many women, but not a lot of males. And so being able to own the fact that we do come from an oppressive group of people, and there was a lot of work with law enforcement that was not appropriate, and decisions were made way back when, but we're trying to break those barriers. We're trying to address those issues now so that we can say that social workers are not here to fix the families. We're not here to help people to the point of enabling them. We're trying to help give them tools to fix themselves, and we get out of the way. And so I think part of that is knowing how to, as Sarita said, know our boundaries, know what we should be doing, what our purpose is. We're not there to be in the midst of their situations all the time. We're supposed to teach them how to get through their stuff and get on out of the way, because they're the experts at their lives, not us. But I do think that the second piece that I just mentioned is really being able to own the historical issues that have occurred in the social work profession, because a lot of our culture, in terms of the Black culture, do not trust social workers. And it's hard to even bring up, you might think about having a therapist, or, this family may have to have a social worker, and it's like everybody flips out. And I can understand why, but I want to be a part of the change agent team that says we're going to try to help create some better outcomes at this point. So that's what I see in terms of like going forward and passing the torch to the next generation.
All right. Hey. Come on now. All right. Look, Chaundra, I'm gonna pass it to you. Come on now. How can Black women help level this playing field? You are already in the mix. All right. So come on through. Drop them gems for those who are listening, those who are gonna bring a friend and all that. Look, because we got people trying to come through the door. As we're sitting here speaking, there are people coming through the door. They need to know this, because as you said, a lot of people get into, the field thinking, hey, I'm going to make this change. But, once that day-to-day starts beating up on you, that mental changes. So how can Black women help level this playing field to have more representation?
I think it's going to take more knowledge as well as more action. We know the disparity, but we have to create an action plan and get to the how of the situation. A lot of people love to talk about it and, communicate the stats and things like that. But I'm more like, okay, why aren't we in upper management positions? Let's change that. Why aren't more of us, going into private practice? And why don't we know that, there are opportunities in macro social work, micro or meso social work, and that there are different levels to it and different ways that we could still create change and be change agents. So I feel like having a network of professionals that, you can speak with, have a safe space, and then, you all work together to create more partnerships and more opportunities. I feel like that's definitely a big step in the right direction. But also, if we start to, have our own inner confidence and lose that imposter syndrome and know that we can move forward and we can create change and do things and on our own terms, I feel like we will definitely see much more within our communities.
Okay. Well, look, we have church today. So look here, Dion, you're gonna have to bring us home. Come on now.
I try. I can share something with you. So one of the things that I can say, someone said it earlier, but that we were social workers long before we were social workers. And I think in our community, we see a lot of that, but we don't call it that. And I'll share with you what I mean. When you go to the barbershop and there's this, talks among men, how they talk about this and how they give advice about that. When you go to the hair salon and we get with our girls, we're talking about this, we're talking about that, and they checking in, and how did that interview go? And did you follow up with this? And did you follow up with that? Those are social work skills, meeting people where they at, checking in with your people, looking out for your people. So I think a lot of social workers were social workers long before, but a lot of times it's not acknowledged as being that. So I think one, definitely starting with acknowledging what some may call this like invisible role that our friends play. So acknowledging that piece. So that's that. Also, I think exactly what some of the ladies here are doing is definitely a way that we can even a playing field. When you get blessed, you bless other people. Hey, you know what? My agency is hiring X, Y, and Z. Putting it out there, extending that branch, passing the baton and saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. Hey, I'm hiring. Hey, I'm working on this project. That's how I think we can definitely get some of our people on board and lead and level some things out. Again, if you blessing those around you, maintaining those contacts, you in graduate school or undergraduate, reaching out 5-10 years later, how things going with you? I think if that's what you're asking about, well, how can we expand? How can we out? That's definitely one of the ways to do so. Again, acknowledging what's actually going on, extending it when you can, using your resources to bless others, but also being mindful of stigmas, because honestly, there is stigmas associated with social work and mental health, period. We're becoming more aware, which I really, really appreciate it. But I've heard therapists say, I'm not going to go to therapy. Nothing's wrong with me. Like, excuse me, you're a therapist. Why would you? Nothing has to be wrong. But we have some work to do. I do think that, thankfully, generations now and even before, very progressive, very involved with the mental health awareness movements, with what we're doing right now. It takes a village, fostering that awareness, bringing the acknowledgement to the forefront, and like Chaundra expressed, really getting out there and doing the work, asking the questions, but also coming up with the solutions to navigate some of these challenges.
Hey, look, I just love the fact that we're having this conversation. I love the fact that this book is dropping. Pre-sales dropping February 1st, y'all, 2023. I'm just letting y'all know. I'm just throwing that out there. But the book itself is dropping March 1st of 2023. I'm just going to let Chaundra tell y'all about that. I'm just, sorry. But anyway. Plug. There you go. All right. Keeping it moving. But no, I do like the fact that you all are addressing this, because as you said, the stigma of mental health. And we all know the stigma of mental health in the African-American community. Hey, look, I'm gonna keep it real. I've had plenty of people on this platform. I dedicate this platform to mental health in all aspects, not just in the traditional form, but in all aspects. But I'm gonna keep it real, I just remember, hey, don't worry about it. Go over there, pray about it. We gonna go to church, we gonna pray about it. Hey, family business, stay in the family. Don't be going to school. Don't be going out the house. talking about what didn't happen. Look here, don't nobody need to know about grandma business. Don't nobody need to know about your Uncle Charles or your Aunt Tina. You know, like, hey, man, but that's a fact. Don't worry about that. And now you carry that. You go to school, go to work, go wherever, you know, but you carry that. And now in your day-to-day, that, you know, that's like festering within. And just all it takes is a certain trigger, and next thing you know, you have all these things, and we still think at the end of the day we don't need help. We need help, you know, and addressing the fact that we need help, we have to start there, people. So, but first and foremost, let's, you know, plug, but, you know, so Chaundra, I'm gonna ask you, how can people get this book? Where can they go? Give us these social media and websites, and tell these good people how can they get their hands on this book.
All right. Well, pre-sales will begin February 1st, which is perfect because that's also Black History Month. So yes, you can follow each individual co-author on our individual social media pages and at our websites, and you could place your pre-order sales with us. For me, I'm on social media as _Wellness Collective, or you can visit wellnesscollective.net to purchase pre-orders. And then the general launch will be March 1st, which is also National Social Work Month. So we will start selling the book March 1st officially, and it'll be available on Amazon, on our individual websites, and it will also be available through Ingram Sparks. And prayerfully, we will be in bookstores coming soon. So please stay tuned with each co-author for our book launch information, our book signing events, and different things that we are doing in the community. And I also want to highlight that we have more than a book. We actually have resources within the book as well. After, you know, we share our stories of inspiration, we have different spreadsheets with QR codes that our readers can access to get information on professional development, networking opportunities, and membership organizations. We even share a list of book suggestions for inspiration. And we also have licensure prep information for readers and social workers in training. And we also are sharing a music playlist. We all know music is therapy too. And we have our own select songs that help, you know, motivate us and get us through our day to day. And we more than just our stories of inspiration, but we're also providing solutions.
Okay, hey, look, solution oriented. I love it. As we stated earlier, we can talk about it all day, but as long as if we're not providing solutions at the end of that talk, then we're going to, you know, keep running in motion, and, you know, no one likes to see the wheel spin and not go anywhere. So I love it. So ladies, let me just ask, like, if people want to get in contact with you via social media, they want to know more about you, things you got going on, Miss Serretta, Brooke, how can people get in contact with you if they want to know more about what it is you have going on? If you have books, what have you, anything, everything.
Absolutely. So I am on Facebook under my full name, as well as I have a initiative where I spread awareness for health and wellness about blood cancer, which is near and dear to my heart because of my mother who passed from multiple myeloma cancer. And so we have a page, which is the Brave Mary Family Bridge Builders page. And so the information about our book, as well as another book that I co-authored on grief and loss, is also listed there. It's called Shattered Pieces, which is also on Amazon.com right now. But I can be reached either by Facebook or by my Brave Mary Family Bridge Builders social media page. And I also can be emailed at bravemary@outlook.com. And so that's another way to reach me.
Okay. All right. Okay. Miss Dion Harris. Drop them social media handles. Come on now. How can we get in contact with you?
You can definitely contact me by two ways. Currently, you can contact me by my social media, Instagram at Dion Solar. That's my social media, DYONSOLAR. And you can also reach me at dionsolar.com. Actually, thank you for asking, because over the spring and the summer, I'm looking to do workshops for families, fostering connections, enhancing marriages, helping parents connect with their children, really building up a community in that way. So that information is going to be posted on the website as well. And again, that's DionSolar, SOLAR.com.
Okay. Come on, Sarita now. I mean, come on. Talk to us. How can we get in contact with you? Like, these people need these services. They need these resources. Come on, talk to us.
So I can be reached at Seretta_LCSW-C on Instagram. I also can be found on Psychology Today and Therapy for Black Girls under Sarita Ford. And you can email me at spentonlcswc@gmail.com.
Right, okay. Distinguished Psychology Today. Come on. Look, representation, okay? Look. You're all about the uplifting around here, okay? Look. Anytime I could get anybody that looks somewhat similar to me on our Psychology Today piece, yes. Winning. There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Plug. There it is. Psychology Today. Boom. Plug. All right. Let's plug. Okay. So, we are almost done, but I'm going to give the question that my show is known for a little twist. Normally, during this time, I will ask, what is the one question that best describes you and why? But I'm going to put a little twist on it. And what is the one word that best describes you and your work as far as this book and breaking that glass ceiling? Chaundra, start with you.
Determined. I am determined to see change and determined to be a solution.
Okay, cool. Dion.
Yes, so for me, I would say I'm hope. I feel like I'm hope in human form. So I instill hope with couples, I instill hope with families, I instill hope even in the book that all things are possible. So I would say hope.
Sarita.
I'm going to say purposeful. The funny thing is that I didn't even know that this was something that I wanted to do, but when the opportunity presented itself, the words just flowed out of me about grief and loss, about being, perseverance in the pandemic in a sense. So I'm going to say purposeful, living in my truth as I navigate this field in different systems, but maintaining and staying true to me.
Okay, all right. Look here. Mr. Redder, come on, look here. You got it. Look. Saved you for last for a reason now. Come on. Take us home. Bring us home. What is the one word that best describes your work on this project?
So I would say brave. As Dion eloquently stated, she's spiritual. I am too. And my favorite scripture is Jeremiah 29:11. He does not put us in positions for no reason. There's so much purpose in what we do, but we have to be brave in being able to push forward. And part of that is having integrity. And I tell my students, be real, be yourself, show up as your authentic self, as my sister Sarita said. You have to, but you have to be brave enough to do that. So I think that the word that best describes me right now, and I haven't always been that brave, but I am now, and I'm definitely walking in it. So brave is definitely the word that I would pick up for myself.
Look, I mean, brave, I can get it. I'm like actually speechless, because I think every last one of you have pretty much gave a word that best describes, the work that's being done. And, not only now, but like, personally, I just feel like these are seeds being sown now for like later in the future when like this book is going to be a tool for those like later, like I'm talking 15, 20 years post-pandemic when everything has changed. Because I mean, let's just keep it real. Like we're like coming up on 2023. We're just really coming out of, this pandemic, and we're not really out of it yet, So we're still going through those motions. In another 10, 15 years, you're really going to start to see, okay, What's the real effect of mental health? What's really going on out here? Because if you thought things were a little weird before, hey, you know, we really don't know what's going on or what's going to happen in the future if we don't get that help now. So look, hats off to you ladies. I consider you all pillars. That's going to be my word. Come on, pillars, organic. It just
Receive that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
We're gonna snap for you. Give us a snap. Yes.
boy,
Say it.
oh, come on, boy. Look, all right. No, pillars, because seriously, like, you are staples. And as I said, this book is going to be beneficial. We're having these talks. Hopefully this book will lead to more discussions like this, these panels, and be able to have these panels here in Chicago, here in Indiana, here in Maryland, like global. We can go, oh man, wherever, you know, and just have these discussions when it comes to social work, many different levels of wellness. This is what's needed now, because this is just what's needed now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't taken a look around the world, what's going on, you know, people stuck at airports for days on end because of ice storms, you know, just people stuck in their homes, you know, people losing their jobs, people losing loved ones, seasonal, you know, depression because of like moods or this, that, what have you. Like, there are things that we really don't talk about that we sometimes joke about, but they are very real. So having someone to talk to that looks like you, who can understand what it is that you're going through, means a lot. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, mic drop. This has been Word with Ty Brownlow. I have been your host, Ty Brownlow. Remember, no one is worthless, no story is worthless. You can follow me all social media platforms at Word with Ty Brownlow, or you could just go to my website, tybrownlow.com, get this wonderful conversation plus other great conversations. Ladies, I cannot thank you enough. And let me just say, the doors to Word with Ty Brownlow are open to you. Hey, you've been on this platform. Man, you like family now, okay? You can always come on back. Whatever you got going on, I would be glad to have you. There it is. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we are out. Peace.